Okay. So for the benefit of those who are not able to, I think there are still a few people in the waiting room. Let's just check and then we can let them in. All right. Thank you. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is exactly 4 o'clock and we welcome you to this African Scholars Forum webinar series on artificial intelligence for African higher education. My name is Seun Kolade. I'm Professor of Entrepreneurship and Digital Transformation at Sheffield Business School, Sheffield Hallam University here in the UK. And I'm joined today by two fantastic colleagues who will just give a very brief 20 seconds, 30 seconds introduction of themselves. Dr. Wushini.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Adibowale Wushini, and I'm a senior lecturer in information system from the Montfort University, Leicester.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wushini and Dr.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Abiodun Egbetokun. I'm a senior lecturer in business management at the Montfort University. A pleasure to have you.
Thank you once again. Thank you very much, Dr. Wushini and Dr. Egbetokun. You're going to be hearing a lot from these two fantastic scholars today, particularly Dr. Wushini, who is the lead facilitator for this session. So we are looking at the topic of artificial intelligence in African higher education. It is important that African scholars, please, can you please mute yourself as you enter, so as to ensure the smooth running of this. And if the co-host can also please help, if people have forgotten, you can please help mute them. So yeah, we're looking at artificial intelligence in higher education. In Africa. It is very important that the African continent is not left behind in this very rapidly moving train of digital transformation that is cross-cutting, that is all-encompassing, that is, all multi-sectoral. And as knowledge producers, and are those who are really at the heart of, supporting and developing future generations of workers on the continent, it is especially important for us as practitioners in the higher education sector to keep track, to sort of be right there at the cutting edge of what is going on, and to see how we can leverage artificial intelligence, how we can be aware of the potentials, of the challenges, of the ups, of the pros and cons of these various tools drawing from artificial intelligence. And today we are looking at, large natural language models, LLM, and of which, of course, ChatGPT has generated a big buzz over the past few months, since November 2022, when it was first launched by the American company. So today we're going to be looking at various things about what ChatGPT is. And again, this is a rapidly evolving, rapidly moving, space. A few months ago, when ChatGPT-3 was launched, it was a big improvement on GP2, and it has 175 billion parameters. Huge, massive parameters that is drawing on to, generate all of those fantastic stuff when you prompt it, on the interface. But then we have ChatGPT-4, which has 175 trillion parameters. So that is 1,000 times bigger than GPT-3. So this is huge, and who knows what is going to happen just next month or a few weeks from now. And of course, there have been other products as well that are based on LLM, and we'll be talking also about those today from Google. Product that is, I will just leave that for Dr. Wushini. Microsoft has entered the train as well, and other stakeholders and actors in this space. So we'll be looking at this. But just before we go into this session, we would like you to complete a short survey. And as you mentioned, as you try to do that, so this is going to be posted on the chat. It's also there on your screen. Please check your screen. It will take you not more than 5 minutes or so. Please, if you have not completed the survey before, some of you have done so. If you have not completed the survey before, can you please do that? This is important for us because we are not having this session as a one-off affair. We'll be running a series of webinars on ChatGPT, on artificial intelligence, because there are just many potential applications. And so we're going to be running a series of webinars on this. And so your completion of the survey will help us as we shape, the subsequent sessions. And we want it to be co-created with you guys. So please complete the form. And of course, we'll be keeping you posted about we are undertaking research. This team is undertaking research on artificial intelligence. We just have a paper that is under review. We've also, done the conference presentation that is coming up on this. And so we also look to keep you posted about, various papers that are coming. We have your emails, and we hope you'll be interested. We'll be sending you updates on some of the output. But please, we would like you to complete this survey before, as we go ahead this morning. So the other thing I should mention today is that, thank you very much, Dr. Woshene, that the way we have organized today's session, we have done some work, and we think we know quite a bit about this, but we have not come here to talk at you for, the next 90 minutes or thereabout. We want this to be an interactive session, and there are going to be some tasks that we give you. We're going to organize some breakout rooms as well for you to, undertake some tasks in some groups of, depending on how many people we have at that time. So please get ready to step in there into what we tend to call a sandpit, and play around, with this ChatGPT to see different usages, and then share your thoughts, in the plenary later on. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for now. And we're starting from just a very quick thought. But before I do that, I also want to share with you, in order to facilitate this interactive session the way we want to run it, we will be using an interface called Miro. So this is, again, maybe an introduction to some of you who have not used this before. But on Miro, we are not going to be asking you to play with too many interfaces. I'm going to share the link to Miro, and we'll be asking you to just share your thoughts in a moment before I then hand over to Dr. Woshene for additional thoughts on this. So we'll share the link, and then you can then just, I think I also need to, Dr. Woshene, I also need to share my
I could share the link. I could share the interface from here once you put the link there. So
okay. No, because I need to show a few things in terms of the. So maybe let me share my screen for a moment, just for one minute.
Okay then.
Just for a minute, and then we go back to this. Okay. So please, I've just shared a link to you on the chat. And I just want to show you one of the features we wanted to use there. So please. Oh, okay. I think maybe, yeah. Okay, so please, can you please click on that link that you find on the board? And I would Yeah, I can see a lot of people there already. So please click on that link because we'll be asking you to do a few things, and I just want to show you one thing to use there. Okay, sorry, Dr. Wushin, maybe you can actually share your own screen, and I will work from the Miro board itself to show just the one item. So please, if you click on that link, we want you to share your thoughts. And I just want to show you one thing you can use to do that. So I brought you all to me. We're on this blue frame. So Miro is a networking team, networking platform. Maybe another thing, if you haven't heard about it before, you can use. But I wanted to come to me where I am now. I can see quite about 12 of you are in there already, which is great. It's fun, it's great. So if you come to where I am now, I want you to pick a sticky note. The sticky note on the left where I am, just after the T, that is your sticky note. I want you to click on that and pick any color you want and just come in here into this frame and tell us what do you think or what do you know about ChatGPT? So we're on this frame, we're on the blue frame. So just tell us here what you know about ChatGPT. Yeah, I'm here. So tell us here what you know. But yeah, fantastic. I can see really great people here, technology lovers, easy, great. So again, I will just bring you all to me. So this is where we are. So take your sticky note, that is the third icon on that left corner, and just tell us in just 2 minutes before I hand over back to Dr. Wushin. What do you know about ChatGPT? What do you make of it, ChatGPT? And yeah, so I can see a few things coming through there. Is a paraphrasing tool, somebody says. Well, somebody said, I don't know much. Okay, well, that's why you are here. So we're glad to have you here to explore what it is. Okay, somebody is saying ChatGPT is disruptive. I think that's what they meant to write there, disruptive. Okay, it is disruptive, absolutely, you're right. It is disruptive, and again, that is why we're all here. And yeah, great. Let me make, okay. Let me sort of, okay. Some really interesting thoughts there. Innovative tool is an artificial intelligence tool, of course. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I can see some are typing outside the frame, but that's okay. We can bring it back in. All right. So thank you for those thoughts. You can keep them coming. But yeah, and that's also a very nice introduction to Miro for many of you who were able to join. Yeah, and we'll be asking you to come back to Miro later on in the session. But for now, yes. So yeah, it's good to see these thoughts. Over to you, Dr. Wushin.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Kolade. So let me take this off and then we'll just go back to initial page. But
Yeah,
I'm just kind of loving the the traction and movement I'm seeing here on the Miro. And it looks like we shouldn't leave it for now. But let's go to.
No, the Miro will not disappear, but we just carry on. Yes.
Yeah, so you can please continue, but then we're gonna just take it off the screen,
yes,
so that we can go back to our slides. Okay, so and that's what I'm just gonna do right now.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you know about ChatGPT? So this is going to be a quick overview of what ChatGPT is really. So there's something we call large language model. So ChatGPT is built on a technology we call large language models. That is LLM. And LLM is a type of AI that is trained using on massive data sets. Most of the artificial intelligence technologies that we have really draw their intelligence from some form of training or the other. But in this particular situation, the AI is built on large language model, and the way it's trained is using some form of neural network architecture that we call transformer-based language models. I don't want to take us into the nitty-gritty and technology of this, but if we think about it, we could think about this entire infrastructure or architecture like we have in the neuron, you know, the neural system of human beings, where you have different kind of neurons sending signals, and they are, you know, in the brain and different aspects of the body. All right, so it mimics how neuron connects to human brain and decides, create some intelligence, and this tell us what to do at what time. The training allows them to predict and process language with incredible accuracy and speed. So because they've been trained using a large data set. And as you can see from the image in the right side of that screen, you'll see this is the language model. And then you've got different types of data sets, whether it's tests, web data, books, images, structural data. Some of them are not even non-structural data. Okay, so you have a bit of training, and then the large language model then allows you to adapt it into different scenario and situation or categories. I don't understand why this is moving without me moving it. So adaptation includes sentiment analysis, information summarizing, planning, and in fact, one of the adaptation is why we are here, to see how we can adapt this in the higher education setting, possibly in academic and research. Right, so this particular architecture that you have here has different presentations and application, and one of the presentation is ChatGPT. Okay, so this is ChatGPT, as you can see on my screen. We have several others, but I'm just going to talk about some of the ones that are quite common. Another one is so ChatGPT is created by an organization called OpenAI. Okay, but then we have BARD, which is also created by Google. So we call this one Google BARD, and as you can see on the screen, that is the interface of Google BARD. They do pretty much the same thing, but then their interface is different. So you could, they have a little bit of difference here when we look at the usability and a bit of functionality, which we might go into at some point. We also have what we call the Microsoft Bing. Again, these are quite changing the way we know search engine. Before now, you just ask Google something, type in a search, and then you've got a large information that you now need to sieve yourself. But with this new technology, you really don't have to sieve some of this information. They come in a more intelligent and structured manner. So again, the presentation of Microsoft Bing is a little bit different from what you're going to have on Google Bard or on ChatGPT, which we are focusing on today. Another one that actually of interest too is what we call the cloud. And this is a situation, a tool created by Anthropic. The reason why I thought we need to talk about this is because this particular tool focuses more on academics, especially on qualitative research. There are some aspects of more like plugins for ChatGPT that will allow you to do a lot of mathematical stuff that speaks to quantitative analysis, but then you have to subscribe to that differently, and then you could do a whole lot of all the mathematical qualitative
sorry to interrupt, Dr. Osheni.
Yeah.
Some are saying on the chat that they cannot see your screen, but I can see your screen. I know you are sharing your screen. So we have a few people on the chat saying they cannot see your screen.
Right. So what do we
I
do?
was just leaving you a message about that actually. If you can
So-
just unshare and reshare.
And reshare again.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm just going to do that now.
I hope we have not been Zoom bombed.
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't
So
think
what
we
I'm
have
going to
been.
do is I'm going to stop sharing,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to share again. Thank you for letting me know. Sharing your screen will slow the. Oh, it looks like somebody is actually playing with us.
Yes.
It looks like somebody put up a whiteboard somewhere.
Yeah.
And then with that whiteboard, we couldn't really see what's going on. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're going to continue. So can you see it now?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, we can
As
see it.
before, I
Okay.
believe that everyone should be able to see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. I think I'm not sure at this point that somebody is is a little bit mischievous somewhere, but then
Yeah.
it's
We will
expected.
find them. We'll find them and remove them. Please, sorry about the interruption. Please carry on.
All right. So sorry about that interruption. And so this is another presentation of ChatGPT. So
And sorry, just a quick one again, please. Can I ask everyone to please write your full name? Because so that we can just be sure because of what has happened. Because we might have to remove one or two whose names we are not sure about, please. So that this is not an interrupted session. So please, can I urge all participants to please type your full name on your screen so that we know who is who. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So what are the potential use cases of LLM? So we've got an interesting use case that has to do with teaching. You could actually use LLMs to create teaching notes, case studies, session planning. Interesting thing here is not that this is replacing what we do as humans or as academics. But what I found out using this for a while is that it helps you to make a good start, So sometimes when you don't even know how to start or where to start, having an interaction with this tool, give you that interesting leverage, unbelievable leverage, more like giving you ideas that you can play on, and then you can now develop further. The same thing with assessment. This is really interesting when it comes to assessment. It allows you to create a variety of questions and rubrics. Rubrics in this sense speaks about what we know to be marking guide, So rubrics are how do you assess a particular assessment that how do you mark it? How do you evaluate an assessment that you have created? And then it also helps with feedback in the sense that you can create personalized feedback, you can expand feedback, you can actually write feedback in a way that makes sense to a specific group of students that you are leaning towards. So what this means is that it creates a lot of room for inclusivity, when you are engaging with students. Then it means that you can actually deal with each student, speak to them, give them feedback based on their personal uniqueness. Another interesting use case for academic is about proofreading and editing, especially it has so much power when it comes to proofreading and editing your work. So you really don't need to spend so much time reading again to ensure that what you've got is right. You just need to provide a few commands here and there, and then you are good to go. It's also very good with thematic analysis. So thematic analysis simply is identifying different themes and categorizing these themes within a large data set. So when I talk about data set, now I'm talking about test data, maybe interview or literature or some kind of test or passage that you just want to find out, make an initial kind of identify themes within a given test. It's also good with quantitative analysis. But just as I said earlier on, you may not have the best from this until you are able to add another plugin. But then this is not all that you can get from ChatGPT or from LLM, as the case may be. I think from my experience and from the literature that I have seen, the power of ChatGPT or LLM, as the case may be, it's actually depend on your creativity. How can you be creative, using this tool? It's just having some form of oracle somewhere, so to speak, quote and unquote, and then you can talk to that oracle differently in different ways and get different answers. So again, this is not limiting this use cases that will put there is just to water your appetite. Is not limited to this. It has a whole lot to do, and this is just looking at it from one perspective as academic. And when we talk about academic, we have different fields, different professions, different knowledge areas. So it's also quite massive, really. Now, quickly, before we move to the next stage, we're going to talk about what are the ongoing debates about LLMs. Maybe I will give this to Professor Shehu Kolade to take on from here.
Very much. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Wishing, a very great introduction. Yes, so ChatGPT and the LLM in general, they have attracted a lot of interest. There are people who are, very worried, that what is the future? For example, is this going to take away our jobs as lecturers and researchers, for example? So there are, scholars and practitioners, who are concerned about. We've already been battling with, plagiarism for decades and decades, about students, copying stuff, from the internet or going to hire SMLs, contractor to write essays for them. So there's a lot of, worry and consternation. So, but that is what ChatGPT is in a nutshell. It's a disruptive technology, just like somebody said earlier on, very correctly so. And so you are going to see pros and cons because it's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool, and all powerful tools can be abused. They can be used in different ways. So one of the issues that have been highlighted is that, when you talk about people using ChatGPT to write essays and so on, the detectors sometimes can be biased against non-native speaker or non-native speakers. So there are some report and research on that already. That if you are, and again, the idea of non-native speaker is also quite a contested term. So is it somebody who is an African, for example, but otherwise has been trained, all their formal education have been in English or true? So there are questions around that. There are also issues around, okay, if the ChatGPT, as an example of LLM, generate, essays that are rated, higher for quality than the one that are written by students, then, what is the future there? Are we entering into a territory where actually machines are, getting much smarter than us, and what should we worry? But again, it can also be quite, it's also been argued that it can be a force multiplier for instructors. If, like Dr. Woshin has been saying, you put a lot of creativity to it. So ChatGPT, it should not be the dependency-inducing assistant, that you just turn to for every single thing, and then we stop, we feel like stopping to apply ourselves. But if we use it cautiously and thoughtfully, it can bring about some really great experience for students, learning experience of students, enrich, their overall experience, but also introducing them well and equipping them well for the world of work, the 21st century world of work, which is very much about, the use of technology, the knowledge economy, and a lot depends on how much versatility you have in terms of how you use technology. So, but again, the other side of that is that, like I was mentioning earlier, that there's also a worry that, when we rely too much on these tools, it can enfeeble us. That the thing that we ordinarily would do, some are using ChatGPT to write letters, which is very interesting. So the thing that normally we would do if there's a tool that can do it there, are we going to be tempted to just ask ChatGPT to do every single thing to do with writing for us? And what does that make us? Where does that leave our powerful, otherwise powerful brains that can do great things, that can think up, and execute great things? So is that an issue? But also there are reports that in the US, for example, that a large percentage of the workforce will have at least some part of their work affected by LLM. So what is the implication of that for the future of work? So is AI, is LLM, and ChatGPT and the like, are they going to take away our jobs? Whether you're a lecturer or whether actually the student that you are actually producing, are they at risk of joblessness? Or should we actually be thinking of a workless utopia where, we get this thing to work for us and we just sit back and enjoy the beach, for example? So that's the other side of it. It's either, this jobless kind of nightmare or a workless utopia where we get, machines to do stuff for us. So again, there are comments and reports about how ChatGPT can be used to generate questions that are of high quality and that can be used across the whole spectrum, whether you are training staff or again in the classroom for students, different kind of questions, both summative and formative. More on that later on. But also concerns about, if a student produces an entire essay from ChatGPT, how do you find out? There are some detectors out there already that have been produced. But as they are producing it, the next generation of ChatGPT is also being produced. So it becomes a race that will not end. And where does that leave us in terms of how do we know that this work has been produced by ChatGPT and this is something that is original? So okay, over back to you. Some comments in the chat already. Please keep them coming. Adepo Juadeyemi say, why do we complain about AI but not about IS machines? So that is something to think about. Over to you back, Dr. Wushin.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Kolade. That's really fascinating. And so we will quickly move on to the first, getting our hands dirty a little bit now. So we want to set a contest. And what I'm going to be doing shortly is to show you ChatGPT screen and just provide a bit of a demonstration on how you can explore ChatGPT command. I mean, there is no way you can interact with it without having some form of communication. So we'll talk a little bit about how you, and then again, effective communication. Even here, if you are not communicating effectively between ourselves, the feedback we're going to have might not. So what I'm trying to say is that the level of the quality of communication determines the quality of feedback that we have or the quality of interaction. The same thing is applicable when we talk about LLMs and ChatGPT in this case. So there are three things that we need to consider when you are creating a command. And a command here is just mode of communication, is a natural language. So it's not like a programming language that you have to stick to some specific command. No, it's still a way of communication. But in doing that, there are certain things that you need to bear in mind. And then the first of them is that you need to have key verb, at least ensure that you have key verbs. Verbs are actually action words. And then the second is that you create a context, a situation that you want ChatGPT to work on. The third is that you try to be as clear as possible, avoid jargons. For me, based on experience and literature that I've seen, the best way to do this is to ensure that your command is as short as possible. So you don't make it to be lengthy or bogus. Even if you have a whole lot of stuff to do, it's better to ask ChatGPT to do it for you in bits and pieces and not just bring everything together at once to complicate issues. So you could get those feedback and then reassemble it, together yourself. Okay, so we're going to go into the specifics now. I'm talking about ChatGPT. I wouldn't know if you can see my open AI screen, or do I have to stop sharing and reshare again, please?
No. Well, I can see if the participants will just confirm, but I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
I can
I
see.
can see. It's clear.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So when you get to OpenAI, this is what you're going to see. And then you can sign up if you have not, but I will expect that most of us should have signed up already. But what I'm just going to do is to log in. So when you click on login, you've got this, and then I'm talking about ChatGPT. These are other plugins. So I'm going to click on ChatGPT, and then it takes me to a login interface. So I'm just going to have my email address there. And then continue, and then I put in my password. Okay, so once I have that, then it takes me in. So a quick information about overview about the interface. So by your left side, you're going to have different conversation or communications that you've had. So you can see that I've had a whole lot of interaction, using this tool. And here you see examples of what you can do. Towards the bottom left, you're going to have ability to do a bit of setting. So you could log out, you could clear conversation, you could do a bit of setting in terms of your team and all that. And then you can also look at data control, export, delete account, and all that. But here is the real interesting thing, and this is where you have you start off your interaction. So what I want to do right now to just create a bit of a context is that I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create a workshop idea for me. So what I have here is create a workshop idea and delivery plan for first-year undergraduate students in a Nigerian university in the area of digital transformation. So what I've done here, I've given specific action words. Okay, so I want the guy to, when I say guy now, ChatGPT, to create workshop idea and delivery plan for the workshop. The contest is for first-year undergraduate students in Nigerian university, and the area, knowledge area, which again reinforces the contest, okay, is in the area of digital transformation. So let's see what ChatGPT is going to come up with this. All right. So you can see he's doing exactly what I asked it to do. So workshop description. So first thing is I said idea. So he gave me a title. Okay, digital transformation, navigating the future. What is the description? I know a quick overview of the workshop. Okay. And then I said he should also give me a delivery plan. And then he gave me the delivery plan. Okay. So these are the workshop duration and format, in-person, interactive. It should be group activities, discussion. And then he gave me workshop contents. What are the content of the workshop? All right. And then he went further to suggest to me the delivery, pre-workshop preparation, what will happen on the workshop day, what the workshop structure should look like, the hands-on activities, for the workshop, the guest speakers, so I could get in, suggesting I could bring in people from the industry, the question and answer, the post-workshop evaluation. And it says, by implementing this workshop, first-year undergraduate student in Nigerian US will gain solid foundation in digital. So tell me, even if I'm not going to go with this, it's giving me sufficient background for me to work with. And this is something that if I want to do without the help of this tool, I perhaps will take another 30 minutes minimum to think about this and to bring about Somebody is saying a very nice guide that can be tweaked. Yes, so that is the idea. All right. But I'm not just looking at the outcome. All right. I'm looking at what is the input. How did I communicate? So 3 things here is the verb, specific instruction. The second is creating a context. And the third is actually ensuring that there are no jargons here, so that you have a lot of clarity. So the second thing I want to also show as a use case, and then this is something really realistic. You could also use this to create feedback. So I'm going to create another use case where you can use it as a feedback. So what I'm just going to do here is say, I'm trying to provide a feedback to a student, but I've typed that feedback in a rush, and I've created the basics of that feedback. But I want to provide something that is more detailed and, that can speak better to the student. So what I'm just going to do is to say proofread, and expand the following feedback for a student. One other thing is that you can make mistake in terms of typo. There is a way this system, helps you to do it. So what I've done here is just to paste the initial feedback that I gave. And so this is a feedback for a student that developed a solution, an e-commerce solution. And I was just trying to provide additional feedback. So you can see the team developed B2B solution called Stock Exchange, which help business to manage product, to design. You see, this is another typo here in terms of, so the idea of proofreading and expanding is actually to take care of those typos. So what I'm just going to do is to click this and let's see what, okay, so feedback expanded and proofread. So you can see what ChatGPT has done now. So at times you are really very fast trying to provide a quick feedback and you are not getting all that is required. You just use the system to refine what you have to do, and that is it. So because of our time, I've been able to demonstrate all this. I think one other thing that I would love to demonstrate that I didn't do is to get the system to speak Pidgin English. But I think we're going to leave that for now because of our time. And then we can go, because again, this can actually speak different language. So it means that you can actually communicate to students in a more personalized, language. So I could ask the guy to, okay, so maybe I could say, please write the feedback in Pidgin English. One thing is that once you interact with this system over time, all right, it has a way of identifying your way of communication and your role and what you do. And so it refines itself to suit your personal, more like an assistant. By the time you have an assistant that has worked with you over time, they seem to know what you are looking for, and they make things a lot easier. Okay, so that's what I've also identified. So let's see.
You bounce off each other as well. If you have an intelligent assistant, it makes you smarter before you are trying to keep up with them.
Yeah, so let's just see this. So it's going to surprise you. It says the team don't develop one B2B solution with them call Stock Exchange, where they help business people manage their product. The design, especially the use case, fits. Let me make it bigger so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So fit still improves more, but other part like functionality where they demonstrate and the role-based security feature, they work well. The user interface self gets one useful dashboard with the extent, so I don't want to read all this, but this just tells you the capacity and the capability of this system and what it can do for you when you are when you are creative with it. So let's get back to our hands-on session now. So let me take this off, and then we can move on to the next stage. And the next stage is that we're going to have a breakout session. Maybe I should hand that over to Dr. Egbetuko. Yeah.
You're muted.
Yes.
Yes, I just saw that. Thank you very much, Dr. Wosheni. Prof, I'm going to need you here to help to randomize the participants into group. But the idea is that everyone is going to get into a smaller group than the large group that we are in now. And within each group, you will have some minutes. I believe it's 20 minutes. Am I correct, Dr.
We have 15 minutes.
Oh, we have 15 minutes. Okay.
So that the
I will
group can
even
come
say
back.
10 minutes actually, so that they can come back
and we take some feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think let's 10 minutes will be too small. Let's say 12. Let's say 12 minutes.
Okay.
So that the groups can come back and then give feedback to the plenary.
Okay, beautiful. So we'll do this in 12 minutes. So once you get into your room, just choose a group leader and address the task. That's the bullet point B. You want to create formative assessments, and by formative assessment, we're referring to assessment tasks. So imagine that you've been teaching students a particular course. So before the end of the course, you want to already have an idea of what the students are learning. So this is not like end of semester exam or something. It's something that you do in the middle of the course. So while you are still presenting the course. So just 5 multiple choice questions and 5 fill in the blank questions and answers. The beauty of it and why we believe it's doable in 10 to 12 minutes is that ChatGPT is very, very quick. It gives you what you need in a matter of seconds. And so when we return, each group leader will speak for a minimum of 60 seconds to present the outcome of your group task. So if we could
maximum of 90 seconds. You only put the minimum.
Yes. So if we could just randomize the participants into groups now.
Yeah, and so this is based on an assumption that at least we have one person in the group that has ChatGPT profile and is able to log into the profile and share his screen and do this with the team just the way I demonstrated this with every one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so we're going to have 7 rooms. And maybe one other thing I should mention, they are set to go now. Once we open the room, we'll put the timer on Miro, but don't worry about that. You hear the sound when the time is up. That's just to help us to run this smoothly. And when the group leaders are about to speak, we also give you maximum of 90 seconds, okay? And so that we'll be able to give room for all the groups leaders to speak. But one final thing is, I don't know whether Dr. Wosheni, we should keep this slide on, but if you can step out of it for a moment and just show the mirror board, so that I can show, because there's a frame for each of the groups to sort of write down your thought as well about what you make of the process as you walk through this.
Okay.
So there's a frame for each of the groups, which we're going to use across the 2 breakout. So if you can please share that before we open the groups, I think that would be great. Yeah. So if you come here, yeah. So you can see that the groups have been color coded in the colors of the rainbow. I'm a bit colorblind, so I hope I got those colors right.
At least they are different. That's the important thing.
They are different. So yeah, and then you can just pick the sticky notes again and just put your very interesting. We really love to hear your thoughts as you walk through this task. You know, it is really, really important and valuable for us. So get the sticky notes as you have done before and put your thoughts in there. Otherwise, Dr. Egbetuko, should I open the rooms now? We will also be roaming around the rooms, the 3 of us, just to see what is happening and to have a quick chat with you. But like Dr. Wosheni has said, I think, you know, you only need the bulk of the time to decide on your prompt, you know. ChatGPT will do this in less than 1 minute.
In a matter of seconds, yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
But we have 12 minutes, and then that will be, the timer will be set on Miro just to keep us going. Anything else?
So we can open the room now.
Okay. All right. So I've opened the room, and then you will see your rooms now. And please just join and follow the guidance. So the rooms are opened. You can join, and we Look forward to hearing your thoughts in 12 minutes. We still have.
It looks like we have a few that is not joined
We
anymore.
have about 10 who have not joined. Please, we will really encourage you to join to make the best of this session. Please join a breakout room. You don't have to be the most active in the group because there are at least 6 or 7 in each group, but at least try and join because this is really what is really beneficial to see how this can be used in practice. Yes, so I think we have about 12, 11 now who haven't joined yet. Okay. So please join the room. I will also just make a note for them for record purposes. We'll post event that they should type in their prompt on the mirror so that we can
Okay.
have it there. So I will do a broadcast now to the groups.
It looks like some people are just joining. So what I'm doing is once they join, I just assign them to a particular room.
Yes. We can assign them to room, yes. Yeah.
So but then we have 7 rooms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Okay, for room
Number
7, everyone is joined.
Yeah.
For here, no one, this one is not joined. One for room 5 is good. Room 4, 2 are not joining. Room 3, 1 is out. Okay, room 2 is great. Room 1, you only have 1 person out. So let's see. Let's go into the rooms. I don't know.
I think we should, let's
I
go.
think the idea is we should have somebody out here always. Well, in case somebody joins without.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm doing a broadcast at the moment. Yeah. But yeah.
I'm thinking it's always for all of us to leave this.
No, yeah, I will stay on for a moment until you.
Okay, so let me join. Where's Dr. Abiod? I don't know where he is. He's not in group 1. So let me join room 1. I'll leave and go and join another one later.
Fine. That's fine.
Oh, but because I am sharing screen, it says joining the room will stop my screen. But then again, I could join the room and share my screen.
You don't need to share the screen because the screen is visible. They can see it anyway on the mirror. So that's fine. You can stop sharing.
Okay. Stop and join.
And we have 2 Abayo Medaramola here. I'm not sure what has happened. Okay, there's a group task going on. I'm going to assign you to groups. Okay, I think people are dropping in and dropping out at the moment. Can you please mute yourself? There's a group task happening. If you can please join the groups, that would be great. Okay, Dr. Wushini, let me just step in there. I hope the group tasks are going well. You are muted. Okay, I will just step around and...
They are. The thing is that some of them are unable to share their screen. So if we know the group leads, we could have given them the co-host rights so that they could share their screen.
Okay, yeah.
I think that is what we'll perhaps do for the next one. And then it looks like some people are actually out here. Can we assign them to...
No, we've been assigned. I think the challenge also is connectivity. But let me just pop into some of the rooms first to see what is happening.
Okay, what about these all unassigned individuals? Can we get them into a room?
You can reassign them. I think what is happening is that they've gone out and they have come back in.
Oh, I see.
But you can try and reassign them. Let me just have a look first at the rooms.
Okay, sir.
And then try to see if we can change the sharing right. I think we probably keep it at that. Actually, we once they nominate a leader, we make them we give them right to share, because the challenge about giving open sharing right is that we can be bombed.
Yeah.
But let me just check a few of the rooms. Yeah.
Okay. I think I will also kind of maybe check one of the rooms too at some point.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Let me 1, 2, 2.
Hello, all. Are we in another group?
No,
Can we experiment? Can we experiment? Okay.
There's the group task going on. I think you probably haven't joined your group, or you came out of it inadvertently. But the group task is going to end in about 1 minute anyway. So, and the group will be presenting to us here. Okay. And then we then go on another breakout rooms after that.
Okay, sir. What I noticed that as I'm about to enter in the group, I'm logged out. So I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully that will be fixed when we go to the next set of breakout rooms.
So I'm thinking maybe we here too can brainstorm while we are here.
Yeah, I mean, because it's the main room, everybody will soon join in a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a group too.
Yeah, we will try and fix that.
So
we will try and fix that next time.
Group of no group.
Yeah, if we have about 5 more minutes, I will have said you can brainstorm here. But you have an opportunity to respond to the groups when they come and share.
Okay.
Okay, I think that is the end of the time actually, and I wanted to broadcast to them now to get ready. Yeah, I think Okay, so a 60 seconds warning has been sent now. I think really interesting conversation there happening. The groups will soon come in 50 seconds. And then we will again go back to Miro to give 90 seconds to each group leader to tell us what they've been doing. And please, Dr. Wosheni and Dr. Egbetokun, when it comes, let's then try to just give co-hosting rights, just a case-by-case basis to the group leaders once we know who the group leaders are.
I did mine. I got the feedback.
Fantastic. Okay, so please, welcome back. I think people are coming back now, ladies and gentlemen. Can I just...
So I think we could just close all the rooms. We could close the breakout rooms.
The rooms have been closed.
Okay, great.
So that we run this smoothly, can I just ask everybody else to mute themselves, apart from the group leader that is ready to speak? I think that will help us to manage the time and to really hear some really great thoughts from the groups. Over back to you, Dr. Egbetokun. So I was just saying that everybody mute so that we allow the leader of the group to speak for 90 seconds. And once we identify the leader, I will make them a co-host. But otherwise, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. So we won't take time unnecessarily on these. I'm aware that it's possible that some of the groups may have struggled with how to crowdsource because multiple people might be doing these, on their different devices. So here's how we're going to do this. Each group will have 90 seconds. If the group leader wants someone to, or rather wants to yield a few of those seconds to other group members, feel free to do that, but you will strictly have 90 seconds. We're interested in 3 key things. Number 1 is the process that you followed in your group. Number 2, you can give us a sample of the questions that you generated. And number 3, as academics, how confident are you in those questions? What would be your comments or your thoughts on how ChatGPT has performed compared to what you will do yourself? So let's start with, I'll just go in sequence. I'm assuming that the numbers are entirely random. So group 1, the leader of group 1, if you could just unmute.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there you are.
So you have been made a co-host now, so that you can share if you want to share your screen.
If you want to share your screen, you can do that now.
Okay. Okay. My screen, I think I'm already sharing.
Yes, you are sharing, and your time now starts. Your 90 seconds.
Okay, so we find that ChatGPT is very easy to use, very quick, very quick and easy to use. However, there were comments about some of the questions that were, generated the options that it's too easy to answer. And then we deliberated and talked to ourselves that, okay, probably if we change the command and ask it for something more complex, maybe the options, we could get more complex options. Because, for example, the question about the parts of the body that pumps blood to the body, you know, that we're expecting. Instead of saying brain, heart, lungs, it's too easy. You know that it's the heart that you should, maybe it should have been like left ventricle, right ventricle, or something like that, you know. But we said that if we change the command, probably we'll get more complex options. I think that's about most of what we deliberated on, and then we asked it to give us generate the fill in the gaps and then provide the answers, and it did. I think for academics, it's something that it's easy to use. And like somebody had said earlier, that can be tweaked. Like we said in the discussion, if we find a question that is too simple, then we may be able to tweak it and make it more complex. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's absolutely brilliant. That's
By the way,
time.
I was going to ask, do we have time for cross-examination?
No, she's actually used, you know, just 5 seconds less than 90. That is brilliant.
No, so we don't
brilliant
have time.
timing.
Anyway, so maybe when all the groups are done, we can do
yes.
I think
that's
so group 2, let's have you. Who's the group leader for group 2? So the group leader for group 1, if you will just unshare your screen so the next person can share.
I'm not sure how to unshare.
Not just the same place where you share. Click on the same button.
Just go, yeah.
The very same button.
Okay, what I would do is just to I would
have I done that?
Never mind. I think I've stopped it by
yeah, so it's been stopped.
Thank you.
So,
then I can then stop mine now. Yeah. That's fine.
So just for your reference, I put the 3 key areas we would like you to address in the chat for the reference of all the group leaders. So who's the group leader for group 2? Group 2? You can just unmute yourself and indicate, so we give you the right to share your screen. Group 2. Somebody must have led that group. there must have been someone.
Well, group 2, are you there? Or do we want to move on to group 3 and come back to group 2? I don't know.
Maybe. I'm hoping that they're not having a technical problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. It appears some group appears to be kind of dormant, because I moved across groups and then I got to maybe 1 or 2 groups where it looks like, you know, activity is actually going on.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's
move on to group 3 then. Group 3.
But then I want to say that even non-activity is a feedback, honestly.
On its own, yes. So I want to understand why.
So it's not really about you doing something. So you could tell us why you've not done anything.
Exactly. Do we know?
Okay, can I speak for group 3?
Hello. No. Okay, so I thought I was hearing.
It looks like Anthony is saying something. Maybe he wants to say something from group 2.
Okay,
we have 2 people talking now. We have Akim, Dauda, and Anthony. So who is group 2?
So Akim, Dauda, which group are you speaking for? Is that 2 or 3?
Okay. From group.
Okay. Go ahead.
We did something. I'm not the team leader, so I don't know why nobody is talking.
You are somebody, and you're already talking.
Yes. No, I don't.
The thing is, hello everyone.
Okay. Yes, hello.
Yes, we're both in group 2. But the person's device we used, because I'm using a different device connected to my ChatGPT. She's not, I don't know why she's not talking. She's Olamide, and she was supposed to present. We worked on a certain topic and we got questions and also the filling in the gap. We got everything. And she even copied it and posted it in the chat section. However, I don't know what's happening. Maybe she's not online again.
Maybe she's been disconnected.
Maybe she stepped away.
Or can you just, you have stepped in now. Can you go ahead and tell us then a bit more? You don't need to share
okay, what we worked on was we just at first we were deliberating on the topic, and we eventually got, we worked on plagiarism. So we said the prompt was create 5 multiple choice questions to test students' knowledge on plagiarism. And it gave us, I also did it on my own other device. It gave us different results from the other one that Olamide did. And we also created a second prompt, which was create 5 fill in the blank questions to test student knowledge on plagiarism. And they were quite enlightening and eye-opening. So that was basically what we did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So someone was trying to speak for group 3 the other time.
Oh, is it group 3? Yeah, because group 2 still has some seconds. Are you moving on to group 3? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Their
I
time
thought
is
group
almost
2
up
had-
anyway. Their time is almost up. So yeah, you may as well
Okay, yeah.
just move on to the next one.
Yes, group 3, please.
I want to speak for group 3, Anthony.
Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, you are now able
Okay.
to share your screen.
Okay. We were not able to work as a group because I believe most of us are having difficulty. For me, it was really my first time trying to use a ChatGPT. So, but along the line, I was able to sign up I was able to sign up successfully. And the first one was that I was able to ask a question like create 5 objective questions on digital design, which it successfully gave me those answers. And the second one was to provide just 5 fill in the gap questions on digital designs, and it just came out very smoothly. Thank you.
So I'm sure you would have a couple of seconds left. Tell me, so if you will do this without ChatGPT, how would you compare these questions that you have with what you would have done by yourself?
Okay, it would have taken me a much more longer time to do. So I think this actually made it very quick and made it very quick and easy for me.
And you think this all makes sense?
Of course, it does. It does make sense.
That's interesting. So we're beginning to see, what ChatGPT can do. Okay. So if you will just unshare your screen so we can go on to the next. And please, may I ask?
Okay, can I talk? The same group or it's enough for him, for our group?
Prof, do they still have a few seconds left?
Yeah, I think we could allow the person to talk briefly. Since
Yes, I think that's
the bear just ran, but let the person talk for.
Yes, please.
Okay,
that should be Ali Muhammad, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Please go ahead. You've got a few seconds.
Yeah. So I don't know how. Let me see. I have to share the screen, right?
There's no time to share screen, but
you won't have
because
time. Just go
okay. Let's give some time. Yeah, go on quickly.
Okay, so
but you have just 30 seconds.
Okay, so I try to create some.
You can share your screen now. Yeah.
I'll share it now. Good. I'm sure you can see it now, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, I try to, because I had some glitches from my. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I think
we can see.
Can you please show us the command?
Yeah, so I will just explain now. So
can you show us the command, please?
So I come in. I saw that there were to generate some multiple questions. So
can you show the command? Show the command.
Go
to the beginning. Go to the beginning. Just scroll up.
Just scroll up and show us the command that you use to generate these questions.
Okay.
Yeah, just scroll up. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. So I try to ask the ChatGPT to create 5 objective questions on gene expression with answers. So I was able to get this just within less than 1 minute. I got all these things, and based on my experience, all the answers are actually correct. It's so amazing.
Excellent.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So
it was really interesting.
And can I assume that this was your first time doing this with ChatGPT?
No, I used it in preparing my seminar when I was in US last year. So when I was trying to prepare a seminar, but not this area, not like this, not like this asking question, just like searching for information about like maybe cancer disparity, cancer genomics, but not like in this way to create these questions, to create some workshop. No. I've never knew of this application.
Well, we learn every day, don't we?
Yeah,
beautiful. So what group are we on now? That was group 3. So we should be going to group 4 now. Group 4, please. Wow, I think we're almost running out of time. We need to double up. Group 4, please.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes. So who is speaking for group 4? I had the voice of 2 persons.
Okay. Maybe they want to do a double act.
I had the voices of Manba Midele and Babatunde Audu. Which one of you? So we can give sharing rights.
And what can give if it's to give, or I should go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Babin, should I go ahead?
Please do.
Okay.
Both of you
I'll be speaking for group 4.
Go on. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Group 4. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
My screen. I'm coming, sir.
Don't come, just share your screen.
I'm trying to do that.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay. What we did was we worked on irrigation farming in northern Nigeria. And we asked to ChatGPT to generate 5 multiple choice questions for us concerning that topic. It did that, and the answers given to those questions are very, very apt. They are very correct. Then we went ahead to ask the tool to give us 5 fill in the blank questions for the same topic. Did the same, but we are concerned about the first questions where it says the primary irrigation method used in northern Nigeria is flawed. In that case, we have to refine the question. The response given to that question, the filling the gap may not be apt enough concerning that. Holistically, generally, it's okay. 80% as it is now currently. That's my comment concerning the assignment given to us.
Okay, excellent. I mean, that's very useful. And I think it also go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, in addition to it, I think it's an eye-opener. In a group, we actually we put it like this to create 5 questions and answers on the irrigation farming system in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria to be precise. And it actually came up, and also 5 filling blanks, questions, answers at the same time. So it makes a whole thing. Maybe if you are trying to do the lecture,
yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Only that I cannot share. I'm on my mobile phone too, so I'm using another mobile. I use another mobile. I will share it. Use mobile phone chat GPT.
Thank you. I mean, that's very useful. I mean, I think it already shows the capabilities of these things. And there's an interesting point that Mr. Audu mentioned, which connects nicely to what Dr. Wosheni was saying earlier, that ultimately you don't want to leave this thing to do all the job. And I think Prof mentioned it in the beginning as well. You don't want to leave it to do all your work for you so that we don't get enfeebled. At the end of the day, there might still be some refinement that is necessary. I think it's important to say that over and over again, just so that we don't we don't assume that we have a replacement for ourselves. No, ChatGPT is not a replacement, but an enabler, something that makes life easier for us. So now we should be going to group 5.
And we're running a bit behind time.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I speak on my group?
How do I share, please?
Yes.
Just click stop share.
Okay.
Button.
The same
Okay,
place
sir.
where you found
Yeah,
the
well
share.
done.
Just
Fantastic.
Did that already?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so we already have a speaker
Share.
for group 5.
Can I share now?
Yes, you can. You should be able to share now.
No, I've just made you co-host.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
All right.
Yes, you
Thank
can share now. Yes.
All right. Okay. Can we see?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, we can.
I think initially forming the group, all of a sudden is a bit difficult before we almost ran out of time. But the process is that by the time you first think that it may be difficult, but when you realize that ChatGPT is giving you the questions and everything, then that's the reason why you see that everybody wants to talk now, because it's not a difficult thing. So what we did was to agree on sustainability. Let's look at questions on sustainability. We know that sustainability can cut across the environmental, social, as well as the economic. So, but when we initially did it, then we realized that the question also has something to do with answers. So I said, so we agreed that, okay, let's put answer at the end of the questions, should in case we want to review questions to the student, but not the answers. So this our code, develop 5 multiple choice questions for grade 1 college students in Nigeria. Then again, we were specific about the country on sustainability, and we were also specific about the class, grade 1, on sustainability, and supply the answer at the end.
Yeah.
So we find out that these questions were reasonable questions that applied to sustainability. And the questions were as well given to us, supplied to us at the end. Only God knows why most of the answers were B. Maybe next time when I want to write jam, I'll begin to think about selecting B throughout.
No, I can guarantee you it was purely random. It's not.
Okay. Then the last question was to create.
Your time is just up now. As the time,
Your time is up.
I think 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay. Create five field in the blank questions and answer on sustainability. And the questions were created and the answers were as well given. Thank you.
Okay, that's excellent. I mean, it's quite interesting. We should be on group 6 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
group 6. So we have 2 groups left, 6 and 7. So if the presenter for group 7 will be getting ready while we identify the speaker for group 6. Group 6, please. Group 6, is that you, Kenny Olanikmekun?
Well, somebody else was supposed to speak, but if he's not speaking, I'll speak.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Group 6, we deliberate on the questions to ask.
Do you want to share your screen, or is it okay? Are you fine?
It's okay. I'll talk. I'll just
okay.
Speak.
It's all right.
And we have 2 questions that we asked. We asked the first question was on introduction to entrepreneurship. We asked for five multiple choice questions, and it was brought out immediately. And at the end of the answer I brought, there was a footnote which I noticed that GPT normally brings out. It said, remember, these questions are meant to test students' understanding of the introduction concepts of entrepreneurship. The questions were standard because one of the questions is which of the following best describes entrepreneurship? Gave us 5 options which are correct. What is the key characteristics of successful entrepreneurs? Those some of their characteristics. Then example of a social entrepreneur, a restaurant owner, a fashion designer, a non-profit organization providing clean water to communities in need, a software developer. So of course we all know who a social entrepreneur is. So those are the things that we asked. And we now tweak the question a bit. Same question, but asked in different forms that create 5 filling the gap questions on introduction to entrepreneurship. And they gave us different versions again. That refers to the process of identifying and pursuing opportunities to create value and innovate. Entrepreneurs are often characterized by by willingness to take dash in pursuit of their business ventures and so on. And he gave us 5 beautiful questions, which we said should be for for 300 level students. And they gave us good questions that I feel they are standard enough. Even if myself I want to set, it will take me more time before I'll set it, because I'll go to different topics to pick out questions from each of the topics. You know, it just cut it out within a twinkle of an eye.
Of course, it will take you longer because you are not ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I forgot to set the timer, but I think the 90 seconds was done.
Yeah,
but
but
it
has to be up by now. But I think it's interesting. So we have one final group. I'm assuming that Abdurrahman Yusuf Pharmacy would like to speak for that group, because he was asking in the chat if that group has reported yet. Is that right, Abdurrahman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, while we are setting up Abdurrahman, can I just remind all the group members and leaders, it is really important. You have brought out some really interesting, fascinating outputs. Please remember to go back to Miro and copy and paste those prompts, in. We need them, and any additional thought that you have on the process, please put it on the Miro, because we don't want to lose those. They are really, really helpful and important. Yeah, over now to you, Abdurrahman. You are now able to share your screen.
Oh, okay, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. The thing I want to add, in addition to what my colleagues have previously mentioned, I tried something and I think it worked. I tried to regenerate the response I received, and out of the questions they gave initially, I think there were 2 or 3 that were replaced with another new set of questions which are also equally good. So I believe if one is not satisfied with the initial response, he has the chance of generating more responses that give more interesting results. I think that is the only thing by the way, what I searched on behalf of.
You haven't shared your screen though.
Yeah, we still don't have the full gist of what you're talking about. If you share your screen, it makes it a lot easier for everyone.
I don't know if I am allowed to do that, because
yes, you can. You are able to share your screen now.
Okay, let me.
Are you able to share it now?
I'm trying to do that, sir.
Go on, software. Please, I can't.
Okay, it's not coming on. Maybe there is some technical.
Well, I think maybe it's because I'm using a mobile phone.
I see. Okay. That could be part of it. But I think we got a sense of the point you are making, that there is the possibility to refine whatever output you have that you are not satisfied with. And I think it's interesting to note that as well. Well, I think it's just best that I will go back to you, Dr. Wosheni, so we can proceed. It's been very interesting so far. Over to you, Dr. Wosheni.
Thank you very much. And what I could identify some interesting patterns in the feedback that we've got. And the pattern is that your output looks to be as rich as the quality of the command that you supplied. It's fascinating to see the group that asked ChatGPT to provide the feedback at the end of the questions. And ChatGPT did exactly that. For some of the group, they didn't provide sufficient context, to say, and that's why I think for group 1 or 2 or so, that's why they found out that the question, I think it's group 1, talking about the body parts. That's why it provided some kind of generic feedback. So if you've gone a little bit further to specify the level of difficulty, even if you say level 3 or level 4 difficulty or something, I'm sure it's going to do that better So just as I said earlier on, 3 things are important. And I also, you can agree with me that it's not about what you've written actually. It's just about identifying the command, the action. So the action in terms of verb, then the context in terms of giving it a boundary, so to speak. And then the 4th thing is that you don't put in jargons in there. Ensure that they are concise, they are short, and then they are straight to the point. So I think this is really fascinating. This is interesting, and it appears to be as if we have really learned something interesting, especially for people that are using it for the first time. And then people suddenly begin to see that, yes, it looks like there is a whole lot of possibility here. And just as we said earlier on, what you can do with this actually depends on your creativity, honestly. It will amaze you, interesting things that you can do with this tool. So AI, at this stage, we need to begin to see it as a tool to help us to be more creative, to save time. And then so we can even focus our time on other interesting things to do, other things that require mental rigor, And I think that's where I'm going to stop now. I'm wondering if we have time to go to the second breakout session, or we should just go to the panel.
I think we should go to the second breakout session.
Okay.
Because it's an interesting task, and then maybe then combine the panel with the feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let me see if I could just share my screen as
Can I quickly ask the question, please?
Go ahead. Somebody.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Please, are we going to have the recordings of this of today?
Yeah, you will have the recording. We are transmitting this live on YouTube. So on our YouTube channel, you will have access to these at the end of the day. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily need a separate recording. It's live on YouTube and it's going to stay permanently there.
Yeah, we're going to also send a follow-up email in case those of you who don't know the channel, but I will also post it on the chat at the end, towards the end of today's session.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to find my way to share my screen again. Okay, so I think that is done. And then I could quickly take us to the second task. So this is setting breakout and then breakout 2. Yes, this is interesting. And this looks a little bit more like ADA than the previous one. I will leave it to Dr. Egbetoko to coordinate.
Yes, I think first off, we have very little time now. So I would say definitely this one should not take longer than 10 minutes. So we have some minutes for the feedback. The process is like before. Choose a group leader within the group. Now, the task now is that you have, so let's say at the end of the semester, you want to give your students some assessment, which has 2 components. So you want them to do a presentation, and then you want them to write a report. And the grid, the range of marks is from 0 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, all the way through to 90 to 100. So like ABC, whatever the alphabets are. So what you want to do now is to use ChatGPT to generate a scoring guide, or a rubric if you like, to evaluate the quality of the assessment. So again, use any disciplinary area that you want. So for example, you can say, generate a rubric, with the following range of scores, 0 to 29, 30 to 39, to assess blah, 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 blah. It's up to you. Both the disciplinary area, the topic you want to give it. Bear in mind that the quality of the output is a function of the quality of the prompt that you generate. So as before, we will go into random groups now, and then we will reconvene in 10 minutes, and one group leader will speak to the work of the group.
So I think we should still keep the same group.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought we should keep the same group. Yeah. to make things quicker, yeah. So that the forming will not be, you have to start forming the forming stage.
I see.
Okay.
So
all
if
right,
we can just open the rooms now. So
You can take a screenshot of that task so that you find it easier to just deal with it once you get to your
That's
groups.
right.
Yeah. So those who have not been assigned, we will assign them quickly enough. So, but yeah, but the rooms are open now. 10 minutes, the task. So yeah, you can join the room as quickly as you can. And we will then, if Dr. Egbetokun and Wushin help me, there are 17 people unassigned. So let's try to assign them. Bear in mind the numbers as well. There's a group that has just 3 there at the moment. Okay, Dr. Woshini, you were still sharing your screen. I could see that I was muted, so you couldn't see you couldn't hear me. So, but I've just sort of shared mine so as to, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm sharing my screen.
You were, I just stopped it. Don't worry.
Oh, sorry.
I was speaking, so but you couldn't hear me.
Not you, please. Okay. Somebody was calling me about our Innovate UK stuff, so I wanted to just quickly provide a feedback. Hey, I didn't know. That was a wrong move.
No worries.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think we still have quite a number of people who have not joined the groups for some reason.
Yes, it looks like some people are kind of laid back. But apart from that, I think I'm actually enjoying how it's flowing.
Yeah, I think it's been good. But we have Dr. Egbetokun Senior, I believe. Dr. Ibadan Priscilla, Dr. Ilari, and Dr.
Whenever I try to join my room, it's bringing me back to the main room. I don't know what the problem is. The same time during the first session.
Yeah. I remember you said that earlier on. Let me try again to.
This is Tosin Legbare.
Yes, I can see your name. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know why that has happened. I will try again to. Yeah. You say you haven't joined. You were in. Okay. So let me just let me move you to another group and see whether does that work. I've just moved you to group 7. Okay, and Dr. Priscilla, yes, you can speak. Unmute yourself. I can see your hand. You can unmute yourself. Yeah. Ibadan Priscilla, I thought you were going to say something. Okay, I think it has worked with Mrs. So let's try and get back to the breakout rooms. And I'll move you to before Dr. Priscilla. And I think Akim Dauda, I think you're not joining for some reason. Okay. Yeah. This sounds. Let's go. Okay, so let me just, okay, Dr. Wusheni, I just want to check one of the groups to see what is happening there.
I'm here. I might also check some of the groups, but I'm here for now.
Okay. I think we have a couple of people who are just joining. Let's see if we can put them in some groups. This second task is a bit more challenging than the previous one. I've been to about 2 or 3 groups and I see that it wasn't as straightforward as before. You know, but the good news is that it's coming second. So it's almost going to be like a take home for everyone.
Yes.
I'm
so
sure
I think what I'm going to do is show them. I'm sure I have a command that I've used before.
Okay. In fact, I think that's what we should do next. Let's ensure that we demystify this one. Even if we don't have a lot of time for Q&A left, it still works well because then everybody can go back and get creative on their own, so long as they know what to do.
Yeah, so I just want to look at, I know I had oh, I knew I had the stuff there.
Oh. So we have just about 2 seconds left.
I'm going to close the rooms now, and it will give a 60 seconds warning. And then before we go back to, yeah, so the rooms are open. We can combine sort of the breakout with the panel. I think maybe with the panel, we don't have time to ask individual questions now.
No, we don't. As a matter of fact, I'm considering that maybe we just allow Dr. Woshini to run through what might be a solution to this particular task. That's about all we will have time left for.
So should we maybe then ask just one or two to give a comment? And then Dr. Woshini can, intervene then for another few minutes. And then we go then to the panel, which is then going to be straight to the floor for questions.
Yes, yes. I think so.
So just one or two comments instead of individual group presentations.
I think we have, we're getting people back. Should we give a few more seconds to get more people? Now we have just about 15 of us in the general room.
I think Zoom sort of sorting that out, so everybody has to be back now. Yeah, everyone is back.
So literally everyone is back. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what we're going to do because we are literally out of time now. I'll just open up the floor and ask for, I don't know, I don't think we have time for more than 2 comments. Just anyone, if you want to speak, just indicate by raising your hand.
Raising your hand, yes.
I will ask you to unmute and then speak. Just your general impression about this particular task. How did you find it? What was the quality of output that ChatGPT produced? So once we're done with that, I will ask Dr. Woshini to walk us through one way of approaching it, something that is like an expert solution, if I may say. And then we'll open the floor for question and answer. So any comments on this particular task?
Can I speak?
Yes, please go ahead. Ayobola, am I correct? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, Ayobola, that's correct. Well, we just found out that it broke the grading into different components, what to grade, the different components to grade, and depending on the mark, the range of marks that we imputed, it broke down the scores for those different sections. It apportioned the scores for each. But we put presentation and report together, so it didn't separate. It kind of like lumped it together.
Of course, it's garbage in, garbage out. What you see?
It would be good to see your output, honestly, because your feedback is really fascinating.
Yes.
Can you share your screen?
I'm not sure. I'm not. Well, I don't know. So while you're trying to do that,
we have 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes. I think the one thing, as you just mentioned, is that this is a series of webinars. Okay, everyone. So please keep pace with us. Keep an eye out for the subsequent ones as well. Dr. Gwetokun, please.
Yes, so I see 2 hands. I will allow each of them to speak for just 30 seconds, and then we'll come back to you, Dr. Woshini. So Temitope and then Kikengomo. If you can just unmute yourself, 30 seconds each, please. In that sequence, Temitope first, and then Kikengomo afterwards.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So for us in our group, when we gave the command for it to get us some grading, what we observed was that anything that was less than 50% was rated poor outrightly. Unlike our normal rating system where we have people between 40 and 49 still be graded as pass. ChatGPT didn't recognize them as such at all. Just anything above 50% was rated as a failure. And I think I found that interesting about the output. Thank you.
Again, it's a case of garbage in, garbage out. You have to tell it what you want. If you did not, then it's just going to use its own discretion, so to say. And you have to remember that the company behind ChatGPT is an American company, so it's not entirely surprising that that kind of thinking might just reflect a certain academic system in a certain part of the world. So Kikengomo, Over to you. 30
All
seconds,
right.
please.
Thank you very much. What I want to say is in line with what you said, because I would have loved to share my screen in a minute, but it's like I'm disabled, but no problem. The quality of your output is dependent on your command, how you structure your command, how effective the structure of your command is. So we have gradings. Those gradings that you gave us were clearly outlined, and it gave us some suggestion that we can now work with. That is what I would love to say. So the quality of your command determines what you actually get. And that's what I would like to improve on later in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those very interesting feedback. Wow, we have just about 8 minutes left in regulation time. Dr. Wosheni, let's see how you're going to deal with that.
Okay, so let's get back to you.
We still need a few minutes for quick Q&A. Okay, so
yeah,
no pressure at all.
Okay, let me just get back to this. And I think we put up that question purposely so that we'll see how you can separate concerns, detangle that a question and then bring them back again. So I'm just going to show us how to approach it. But then again, there's no fast route to it. You could actually do it differently. So what I'm going to do here is give some form of command. So I'm going to say, create a rubric in tabular form. I want you to give it to me in tabular form. Tabular form or format for assessing students' essay. Then I'm saying that the essay is on digital transformation of health sector in Nigeria. Use the following band to create the rubric. Okay, and then I said the band is 0 to 30%. Let me say 0 to 29 actually. 0 to 29%. 20, so 30 to, let me just say 30 to 39%. That till 90 to 100%. So I'm just saying, instead of that, I would just say in that range. So let's see if he's going to get that. Till 90 to 100%. So what I'm doing is I wanted us to see how we're going to separate. We can put the presentation and the report together actually, but it's good to just separate it. I could also change this to a report instead of essay. So let's just say student report, okay? The report so let's see what is going to come up with. Can you see?
This is almost like magic.
So just look at it now. Let me make it a little bit smaller. This is your marking scheme. I didn't even have to give it everything. So 0 to this,
all produced in 30 seconds.
Yes, and then it tells content accuracy, research and evidence, organization and structure, writing style, critical analysis, overall presentation. And he gave that to me. And when you look at it, you see that it's a limited accuracy, some adequate, solid, substantial, comprehensive. And these are what you see in, Bloom taxonomy, so to speak. I'm not sure how many of us know Bloom. I expect that we'll know what it is, So I wouldn't know if you want to sit down and create this on your own. For me, if I'm to create this, it's going to take me like 1.5 hours minimum to come up with this kind of marking guide or structure. And he's done it just like that. But
you need a full day or two.
So I was going to say just that. You need a whole day.
No one does this in 1.5 hours.
I'm just trying to.
Except if you have a starting template.
I don't even have. Because number one, you'll be thinking about the grammar that you're going to use, how to differentiate, how to ensure that 40 to 49 is different from 50 to 59, But this gave it to you. And what are the things that we need to look at? You see that there's clarity in the command. Create a rubric. What is it used for? What is the context? What is the boundary? And so it was so clear. Just as we have said before, the strength of quality of your output is the quality of the input, how you're able to communicate. And communicating with this, then what I'm doing now is not just that I got there today, so to speak. I've been interacting with this system for upward of maybe 3-4 months. Yeah, more. Since January or December, actually.
Yeah, it was around December, yeah.
Yes. So, and then we've learned a lot of stuff. We read about a lot of stuff. We've even done a bit of experiments, amongst us as a group. We've had some publications. We've had a school-wide or a university-wide consultation, workshop.
There's a book in the pipeline.
And there's a book in the pipeline that we're also right. So it means that we've gone a whole lot for us to even have a confidence to say, what, we need to begin to reach out to Africa and our colleague in Africa, in Nigeria, about the potential of this and how it can help. It just means that we've seen certain things that we felt that it's like a gold mine that we need to let other people into. So what am I trying to say? It's not something you might get there overnight. It takes time, but does it have potential? Yes, I think it does. And I think it's about the command. And when I talk about the command, it's about the specific action, creating a context, setting your boundary, and ensure that your command is void of jargons. I mean, you go straight to the point to do what you want to do. So that is it for me. Am I still sharing my screen? I'm not even sure.
Still sharing your screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
You are.
It's exactly 6 o'clock. And
yes. I was just going to say, so what, Prof? What do we have time left for?
I don't even know anymore. I think
so let me stop sharing my screen now, so that we'll get back.
Well, I think we should take like 10 minutes of Q&A to round up the session. So which is sort of 10 minutes longer than what we planned. But I like to imagine that all the colleagues here, have enjoyed the session and they wouldn't mind an extra 10 minutes for them to ask questions and to get some additional, feedback from us.
So we can as well say the 10 minutes is for our panel session. So we just take that and then close the remarks.
Yes. So I think, so that's a good idea. So now the thing is for us to explore the implications of ChatGPT in African higher education. But rather than us doing the talking, I think it's good if we just open the floor and let colleagues give feedback and questions what are their thoughts in terms of the implications of ChatGPT, and not just ChatGPT alone, but the large language models for African higher education. Or, by the way, if there's any question, just indicate by raising your hand, and then I'll identify. So I see
So
Rufai.
the other thing, sorry, Dr. Gwedoku, is,
Yes,
colleagues, can I just create your indulgence because we have just 10 minutes? Can I just ask you to keep your questions, as short as possible so that we have, opportunity to respond, but also to take as many questions as we can within the next 10 minutes.
Yes, so I see 4 hands already in this order. So you will just unmute yourself and ask your questions, and then we'll take it in series like that. Rufai, Adetumbi, Uneke, and Samuel, in that sequence. If you just keep it to, like, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds per person, please. So Rufai, Adetumbi, Uneke, and Samuel, just unmute yourself and go straight to your question.
And we probably won't be able to take more than that, colleagues. Sorry. There's always the next time. Yeah.
Everybody. Well, let me just interrupt a bit. Somebody said, can we use it to generate question? Yeah. That is a different conversation around research. And I think we'll make that a focus.
We are running a separate session
next time. But yes, we can use it. You can use it to do interesting things around there. Market research. We'll get there in another conversation.
Dr. Rufai, I think
thanks so much for putting it together, the three of you, Prof. and Debo and
why did you hide your name? I didn't realize that was you, Doctor. But just go ahead anyway.
I was just multitasking in different meetings and all that together. So, but I just needed to be here as well. So that was why. This is a very marvelous session. Thanks so much for this. Quite enlightening. My general thinking is just that for our field, the academic community, really, the tendency to over-depend on these marvelous tools, and what I may see to be, if you're not very careful, the kind of cognitive decline. Yes, these are quite very useful tools for us, for research and all that. But even so that, yes, you can use them and generate, a lot of resources, and you can refine them and put your own tweak into them to make it yours. There's that temptation to want to kind of over-depend on them, and because they are quite efficient. So my point is, as these tools keep evolving now, where do we draw the line? Of course, we can't control the inventors in this respect, but as academics that we are, where do we draw the line? Where's the balance between using this as enabling tools to assist us in our engagements and our research, at the same time, not over-depend on them such that we move or we kind of degenerate in the way we kind of innovate and create and go about our task as researchers.
Thank you very much. I think you probably missed the beginning because this was one of the issues raised, in the earlier when we started, that AI can enfeeble human beings, or it can enable. So the distance between enablement and or the space or between enablement and enfeeblement is then depends on how we apply ourselves as humans. And I think what we found also here is actually the utility, the maximum or optimum utility of AI, of ChatGPT, actually depends on human creativity as well. So, and I think that is the message really. That the best use of AI tools is as a collaborator, not as a dependency-inducing assistant where you just ask ChatGPT to do everything. That's number one. Number two thing also is that ChatGPT is brilliant, it's fantastic, but it's not perfect. And maybe this is an issue we also pick up in a subsequent session, that ChatGPT has come up with bogus references before. That sometimes when it produces text, you need as a human that is interfacing with it, you need to check the output. Don't just take it for granted. You need to check the output and fine-tune and refine it as well. But I think that is probably the shortest possible response to that, given the short time we have. I don't know whether Dr. Wushene has anything, but we have other hands up as well.
Well, speaking of references, it's good that you mentioned that because Emmanuel Rotimi was asking about whether ChatGPT can give references. The reality is that it can and it does, but it has been flagged for being notorious, for generating fake references. So you want to be careful about that. And this surrounds the conversation about us not being overly dependent on it as a tool. So let's take the next question. Adetunde, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity. My question is, using ChatGPT to generate questions, what about the validity of the questions? Please, do you understand what I'm?
Yeah, we do. Dr. Wosheni, do you want to respond to that?
Okay, I am going to ask, what is your definition of validity? Maybe that's where I'm going to come in from.
No, I'm assuming that he was referring to what one of the participants mentioned earlier on, that when ChatGPT came up with the question, he checked it as an expert and found that the answers are actually correct.
Close the door. I want to answer a question. Close the door.
Okay, somebody
Daniel, close the door.
Getting angry with ChatGPT.
Yeah, so I wanted to say, what is the validity? What do you mean by validity? I'm not clear what.
Okay, so maybe I should explain it this way.
Okay,
like,
okay.
For example, now I'm a human being and I'm using this, and our students also, they have access to all these tools. So if I venture, they are now using it, and so
So you went there. I was hoping the conversation would not go in that direction because that's
I knew it was going to get there.
But Dr. Wosheni, please.
And that is why I asked that question about what is a valid. What do you mean by validity? Now, from the Lidwell experiment that we have performed, and it's between 3 of us, and we've also published it, is that the response you're going to get from different ChatGPT accounts using the same command is different, is far apart, as distinct as you putting it on Turnitin and Turnitin having different similarity index, like very low similarity index. So it means that even if your students will use it to generate question, number one, you're not going to have, it's unlikely that you have similar command. But let's even say you have similar command. From what we have seen, your output is going to be different. So if that is your definition of validity, I think it's safe to say that you can use it. Your students who can use it, but then it's very unlikely that you're going to have the same set of questions or output. Does that answer your question?
I think it's on the part. The additional concern I can sense from that question is the fact that if I can use it as a lecturer to generate the questions, how do I know that my students cannot already use that to preempt my questions? And I think that's a valid concern.
Yes, and that takes us to, let me say this, please. And that takes us to the issue of assessment, really, because one of the concerns that AI is bringing to fore is not just about making our job easier or making us productive. It's also the question of what is knowledge? How do students acquire knowledge? And how do we examine or assess knowledge? So it then means that the way through which we assess knowledge previously has to change from testing knowledge in terms of what people know, garbage in, garbage out, into the application. So the right examination, assessment of knowledge must move from garbage in, garbage out of what you know, give it to me the way I give it to you, to the application, real world application of what is being acquired, if you understand what I mean. So that is another conversation,
And if I may interject there, that is an opportunity to actually mention, so we have your emails. We'll be happy to share with you an advanced copy of a paper that we just did that is still under, review. And this is exactly the issue we grappled with. About, AI is also moving the frontiers of learning and assessment as well. About, what should students actually be learning? So, like Dr. Wosheni has said, is we should, in the 21st century knowledge economy, we should be moving beyond know what, which is what knowledge testing is.
Yes, but
to know how, which is about actually competence evaluation, not knowledge testing. To know how, and then even from know how to show how. So we have been so much at the base of the pyramid for the most part of our assessment practice in terms of testing know what. So know what, so what. So it's about moving from know what to know how and to show how. So if a student can actually generate the knowledge about anatomy or whatever it is, to use an example, the question is that what do they do with that knowledge? Can they assess that knowledge to actually do surgery in a live session that is assessed?
Yeah.
So why should we be worried that they are assessing knowledge? Let them assess knowledge. It's about when they've assessed that knowledge, what can they do with it? So when an instructor, like Professor Lukole is in the lab, looking at the student, okay, you've assessed all this knowledge and information. Let me see whether you can perform a surgery on this turtle or on this dog. That is where assessment should actually move on and forward too.
And that again speaks to us in terms of
what do we do with our time now? Because this conversation is getting more and more interesting. Colleagues, if I may just crave your indulgence,
sorry,
ask for 2 more minutes. So now we'll do it this way. This. There's a couple of hands. Dr. Rufai, I could hear you, but there's a couple of hands that have been raised for I don't know how long.
Yes, we need to allow others.
So allow me. So let them speak in this sequence. Just unmute yourself and speak. We will not interject in between. 30 seconds each. We want to take all of those comments and then we'll come
together.
back. That's Prof, and we wrap up. So Uneke, Professor Lukole, Dorcas, and Kikelomo. 30 seconds. Make it sharp and focused, please.
All right.
Thank you so much.
So,
Uneke is talking.
Uneke, Olukole, Dorcas, and Kikelomo in that order, please.
In that sequence, yes.
Thank you so much, Prof. That's fantastic. I'm in statistics, and if I'm to carry out a study involving the distributions, generating new distributions, then I need properties of this distribution, like the mode, the kurtosis, and all that we talk in our statistics. Can ChatGPT also assist in this? That's one. Two, if I have a study to carry out, will ChatGPT design the questionnaires, the questions that will be adequate for a particular survey or study?
Okay, thank you very much. So, Professor Lukole, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. When we're talking about the same command, different responses, I was now asking myself, if I should give students a kind of task like, okay, what are the landmarks for locating the veins of the arm? I would not expect them to have variety in terms of their response, because anatomical landmarks must be the same. So that is what I'm putting forward to us.
Dr. Oshene, can you stop sharing your screen?
You may not have variations. And again, the aspect of preempting questions, I don't have any problem with students preempting my question. But see, if I'm teaching anatomy of how to locate veins, the knowledge of it will be when you have the subject before you, are you able to locate the vein with your needle? That is when the knowledge is really tested. So if we now begin to have different variations in terms of response from different places, then it may not go very well with biological science. So that's my input.
Thank you very much. Dorcas, please.
Okay, thank you very much for this session. I have a little contribution because I have tested and I've tried ChatGPT for a while. I've used it in making proposals, even in writing the skeletal structure of a manuscript, like a systematic review on its own. And I have noticed something. If for the referencing aspect, you mentioned already that they are very notorious for this. Quite all right. As lecturers, if you are giving your students assignments or term papers, you could just scan through the referencing and just check for the validity of those references. Most of the time from ChatGPT, they are wrong. They don't exist. Secondly, I feel the questions now from our lecturers should evolve from the basic kind of questions to more applications, like questions that we show that you really know what you're talking about, than what is this, what is that, explain this. No, the question should evolve. That way you'll be able to know and really grade your students properly on their understanding of the topic. So I feel you should not totally remove them from the equation of them knowing how to use these tools, but the lecturer should know how to use it better than the students, and how to improve on grading systems and questioning, etc. Totally. I just feel that there should be a total overhaul of the whole academic system, especially in Africa, questioning students, grading them, because they are using it. For example, recently I gave a younger one an assignment, and when he brought it to me, I said, "This is AI work. You did not think like this." And he was like, how did you know? I said, "No, this is AI. If you had written it and you gave it to AI and say, okay, paraphrase for me, I will know that, okay, they did a small job, but this totally is not your work." And he said, "Okay, you got me there." Obviously, he just went there and gave it to the thing to do. So we need to go through it very well as teachers, as lecturers, as those in the academia, and that way we'll be able to combat them.
Thank you very much for that. The last person will be Kikeloma. Am I correct? Yes, please.
Thank you very much for organizing this workshop for us. I would just like to add, because many people have said a lot of things. Personally, I do not see any competition between lecturers and students over ChatGPT. I always like us to see the positive side of things. You see, this generation, they are very advanced. In fact, you will find students that might know how to use it better than you as a lecturer. It's possible. Yes. So there is no competition, but the key issue is that as a lecturer, how do I use the tool to bring out the best out of my work and to bring out the best out of the students I'm dealing with? And how do I make sure things are done proper, in the right way, so that somebody will not just bring a work for me like the former presenter before me just talked about. So there is no reason for, I don't think there is any competition between lecturer and student. We, both the lecturer and the student, we use the tool for their advantage. But each person should know what he's doing with the tool and make the best out of it.
All right.
Strike a good balance.
Thank you very much. So just before I hand over back to you,
just one last question, actually.
Okay, yes, go ahead, Dr. Rufai. One line.
It's just I'm not sure whether you guys have actually addressed this. It's just a question, really. How do we safely assess students, on based on essay alone now? When you have about 900 student number, and your basic assessment methodology has always been essay or sandpaper. So how do you do that now, knowing fully well that you might struggle to check the originality of what they've put across, and you can't even use anything to actually
Short answer is that has to change.
Thank you very much. Rob, before I was going to hand over back to you for wrapping up and closing remarks.
Yes.
But before you respond to that, we had a question that we've not spoken about quite yet. And I guess that was why Dr. Woshidi was trying to share his screen the other time. This question about statistics and whether ChatGPT works well with it. I can confirm that it does, actually. So, in fact, it is smart enough to identify different kinds of measures. So, for example, if you want to calculate mean, median, mode, you don't need to tell it to give you the mean or the median. Just ask for measures of central tendency. It will generate all of those by itself. All you need to put in there is the data in a properly formatted manner. It works very well with it. So I hope that answers that question. I just didn't want us to forget that. So over to you.
Whether it can run with panel data is another question.
That's a different ballgame entirely.
That may require maybe a higher level of command and sophistication, I would imagine. And I think that is the major takeaway, really. That this is a tool that has great capabilities, but it also requires human intelligence, which is a good takeaway, actually. It requires human intelligence and creativity to make it work best for you. But I think Dr. Wushene was also going to say something there.
Yes, there's a plugin that does that perfectly well with Python. Python is also a machine learning stuff.
Or maybe R, yeah.
But the truth is, it's not available to the public yet. So I could provide a link where you could request for a trial. I think I've also requested, but I don't have their feedback yet. But I could see a demo of very interesting thing that stuff is doing.
Yeah.
Predictive analysis, all form of analysis. I tell you, it's mind-blowing, what you can do with it. So I will say yes. Yes, it can do a lot of statistical analysis, but then is it available to the public yet? No. But we have evidence that it can actually. But even with what you currently have, you can also use it for calculation. I mean, this is very good with programming. If there's anybody that is into programming here, can try it. You can write any language using this current version of ChatGPT. It's also good for mathematics, for computation. It depends on the kind of input or the command that you provide. I've tried some of those computation and I can say it's really, really, really good with computation. But can it do more in-depth stuff? Have not tried it, but I'm looking at trying it, subsequently.
I would not bet against that, and I think that's the message really, that, this is a tool that has rapidly progressed compared with other previous generations of the digital tools, much more rapidly. I mean, you have, GP4 coming a few months after GP3. So GPT-4 coming a few months after GPT-3. The rapid rate. And even with your mobile phones, some of these development take 2 years before you have the next, iPhone 14 or 15 or whatever it is. This is rapidly moving. But again, the reality for us as researchers is that we need to also keep up. So maybe everybody should be encouraged to go and learn, even if it's just a basic introduction to Python or any of this programming language, that will just enable you to, make the better use of these tools as proper assistants. I think that would be great. I imagine, when you want to run more sophisticated analysis on ChatGPT, it might require you to write a few codes, not too much, but a few codes. And I think that is really exciting, I think. So, well, I would just left for me to say, Dr. Egbetokun, shall I now round up?
Yes, please go ahead. Don't forget Dr. Rufai's question. I think you already gave him the short answer.
Yes, I've given the short answer.
That was very cruel.
Well, I think to be honest, I think we have to rethink, essays, but we also are realistic enough to know that we cannot just say, we stop essays right away. This is something that has been there for a long time. And if it's going to be changed, it's going to be a phased, process of change.
How do we do that?
But so I wouldn't claim to have, perfect answers, but I think there are opportunities. There are opportunities in maybe combining some of the essays that have been produced with live, Viva, short Viva. I know when you have 900 students, that is quite a huge task. But also there are also cases, really, because what we also found in our own experiment, what we have found is that when you are more specific, I think we need to be more creative with the way we generate our questions. So maybe that's another side to it again, which I mentioned many times today, that we can be more versatile in the use of this interface, beat younger people, young students to hit, by actually generating questions that will require more thinking. The sort that ChatGPT cannot just give you completely. If, for example, you ask a student to write an applied essay, advising a very specific local SMEs, or now they can make the best of some new changes within their specific neighborhood. Some very specific questions that ChatGPT cannot really give you absolutely perfect answer to. I think that is one way to be more specific, to be more applied in the way we set our questions, in such a way that even if they use ChatGPT, they still need to apply themselves to see, okay, so this is the knowledge that ChatGPT has provided for me. How does it apply to this very specific situation? So I think that is one way that I see as a possibility. And what we have also seen in our experiment that we did. But ultimately, I think we need to start thinking about how we can complement essays with other form of formative assessment in a way that will not be too onerous. Because what we have found also actually is that ChatGPT can be a powerful assistant. I mean, again, I will commend our work, our paper to you in that regard. It gives a lot of insight. But as with these things, it's a rapidly changing dynamic, space. Nobody can presume to give perfect answers or solutions. But I think we are just signposting future directions that we should all seek to embrace as we grapple with technology and as we move forward the frontiers of learning and assessment in higher education. It's left for me to just thank you all, colleagues. We wanted to run this for a maximum of 2 hours. Here we are, 2.5 hours after, and it's been very, very exciting session. I'm sure we have all enjoyed it, and a very special thank you to Dr. Wosheni, who is our lead facilitator in this session, and of course Dr. Egbetokun, who has made really immense contribution in running this session today. You are going to be seeing, more of the three of us in the future. So just keep up with us. We do have your contact. We'll be keeping you posted about future sessions that we're running, as we also seek to just keep in step with what is happening in the space as well. So please, you can join us on LinkedIn, African Scholars Forum. We'll be some update there. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'll be sharing, this content there as well. And just keep up with us. We'll be informing you about subsequent sessions too. So thank you all very much, colleagues, and we wish you a fantastic weekend ahead, and happy teaching, happy interacting with your students and colleagues in your various institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
So we just leave this on another 2 minutes before we close the game.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the session.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
Thank
I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Very insightful session.
Thank you.
Very,
Thank you.
very.
Thank you for your time.
I enjoyed every part of it.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it too, actually.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Washington, Rosa Colade, I want to see how this relates more to political science. It will be very interesting too.
Okay,
yeah, we will keep that in mind, actually, yes. To maybe have some more kind of disciplinary, cases.
Yeah, disciplinary focus session.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, sir.
Professor Lukole. Okay, so Dr. Owusheni and Dr. Gwetokun, I'll close this page and just open the other one so that we can have a quick chat. That is
Okay,
fine.
that's fine. Then you
Thank
can post
very
the
much.
link to the other one in the WhatsApp group.
No, it's the same link we've used before.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, see you then.